This is Monty with Bill Brothers, starting my digital inspection for a realtor. We are in Claremont, and we always like to start underneath the eaves just to get an idea of the condition of the wood. Now the eaves consist of, we have the fascia board, we have the rafter tails, and then we have the starter boards. And you can see underneath here, that vent is the intake ventilation. Oh, focus. There you go. And these eaves are actually painted over. Not seeing any signs of wood rot. So those look pretty good. Now what we're looking at here is a 3-tab asphalt shingle roof. And it does have drip edge. Drip edge is that metal flashing that goes along the fascia board and allows for that water to flow off into the gutters anytime it rains, so it doesn't soak into the wood. Now you can see that these shingle tabs are starting to become loose on the end. This is very common for 3-tab, especially an aged product. That adhesive begins to wear off. Now, a couple things I wanted to point out immediately are exposed nail heads. There is a handful on this roof. You can see two right here near the garage. See a little bit of a, looks like a patch. Anyways, looking around the penetrations, we do have more exposed nail heads over here as well. So these should be sealed up when these are installed. This one is actually sealed, so that one's good, but these aren't. Looks like these had some mastic on them. It's starting to wear away, so you can see that starting to poke through. This one, the stagger, is a little funky. And you can see some weathering on the ridge caps. So moving on, we do have pool solar on here. We have 2 more exposed nail heads on these ridge caps, and we do see some granule loss scattered throughout each roof plane. So the reason why this happens is the oils begin to evaporate over time after that product has been sitting in the sun for years and years, and those granules begin to fall off. And that's what's going to expose that bare, raw material in that fiberglass. Okay, we also have solar back here. We have approximately 15 panels. And looks like there are a handful of areas with repairs. You can see some down here as well, and quite a bit of granule loss on this portion. Something else I noticed is the way that these were nailed on. So you can see how this actually isn't straight. You see how it's narrow and then progressively gets wider towards the front of the house. And then we also have 4 more exposed nail heads on the front. Now looking at the solar anchor points, looks like this shingle tab was actually blown off and made its way down here towards the edge. And again, we see the same thing on this side. These shingle tabs are very loose. You can see how easily I'm able to lift that up. So anytime that there's wind-driven rain, that is going to lift up completely, and that rain is going to get an entry point down to the wood decking. Okay, now we're making our way to the back with the flat section. So we have modified bitumen torch down on this flat section. We have some pool solar on here, and what we see here, one thing is the seams. So the seams, we like to see at least a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of bleed out. We don't see any bleed out on here. We see a lot of granule loss on here. So those have actually fallen off. You can see that water tends to collect up around the edge right here. And along the wall, we don't have any roof to wall or counter flashing. So what they did is actually put sealant on here, and over time this is going to break away, and that water is going to be allowed entry right here. You can see on a couple parts. So that's another red flag. So my overall assessment, I believe that this roof is gone past life expectancy. I'm going to fully recommend a full replacement on this. What we want to do is tear this down to the wood decking, address any rotten wood that needs to get replaced, and remove the felt paper and replace with a new titanium synthetic underlayment. And then what we want to do is put new Owens Corning shingles on here, and it's going to look more like this. This is an architectural style. It's not going to be 3-tab because this is actually discontinued. And we also have in-house crews for the removal and reinstall for the solar. We'll get those stored on site, put the new roof on, and then put these back on in their proper placement order. And then for the flat section, we want to do a TPO material. TPO is a synthetic material. It's used on a lot of commercial buildings. It looks very similar to this right here. It's highly reflective, and basically the way it is adhered creates one single membrane, and it does a phenomenal job at keeping water out long term. So that's what I'm going to recommend for this flat section. But yeah, there's a ton of signs that this roof was installed unprofessionally. There's a lot of errors on this roof, and the product is very aged. So yeah, full replacement is recommended. Thank you.